Greetings. Some interesting news has dropped regarding the potential, if not outright reality, of Divinity Original Sin 3. In fact, Swen has promised the world that Larian will definitely be making a Divinity Original Sin sequel. To quote him directly, "It's Divinity Original Sin, our own universe we built, so we're definitely going to get back there at some point," Vinka said. "We'll first finish this one, Baldur's Gate 3 now, and then take a break, because we will need to refresh ourselves creatively also. You're seeing 400 developers putting their hearts and souls into this. You're getting the best of them and their craft into this game, and so I can tell you it's quite a thing." And I think this is good news, actually. But there's an interesting discussion one can have resulting from this, and that discussion is quite simply that there's a difference between Baldur's Gate, i.e. the Dungeons & Dragons universe, and Divinity Original Sin. As he pointed out, Divinity Original Sin is Larian's IP, and I've played both games, Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2. But I have to say, from my perspective, I vastly prefer Dungeons & Dragons. I vastly prefer Baldur's Gate, and there's a simple reason for that. I have been delving into this world specifically since about 1987. On the other hand, as much as I like Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, and I think they were great games overall, they don't capture my heart and soul the same way that the Forgotten Realms does after nearly 40 years of being involved with it. And so, to me, I'm going to be perfectly honest, as pleased as I am that they will be making a Divinity Original Sin 3, I'm also ever so slightly disappointed, because personally, I would love to see them make even more Dungeons & Dragons, i.e. Forgotten Realms content. If you're not familiar with the Forgotten Realms, I can assure you that Baldur's Gate as a city, and the Sword Coast in general, encompasses a very, very small fraction of this world. There are so many other potential stories that could be told, amazing adventures, and lore to be talked about. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the world of Rivellon, the setting in which the Divinity games take place, is fascinating and filled with a lot of rich lore too. It's just, it pales in comparison to what Dungeons & Dragons, i.e. Forgotten Realms, has to offer. And I think in many ways the proof is in the pudding. The hype train regarding Baldur's Gate 3 is unprecedented for a number of reasons. Think about Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, the legacy effect, all the hard work and effort that's been put into making this game, and the general appeal of Dungeons & Dragons. People have a sense of familiarity with it. They have a sense of nostalgia. I like Divinity quite a bit. It's just, I don't love it the same way as I do Dungeons & Dragons. I'm sure if you've listened to my videos, especially the lore stuff, I am very passionate about this world, extremely so. And that might not be true for everybody, but I think in general, when you look at the reception towards Baldur's Gate 3, you can see that a lot of people are enthusiastic. And I strongly suspect, had it been Divinity Original Sin 3, that yes, they would have sold better, done better than their previous games, no doubt. But it wouldn't be on the same scale. And so I'm torn on the one hand between wishing Larian all the best, wanting them to make the products they want to make, because again, I can't repeat this enough, I like Divinity Original Sin a lot, and I want them to continue their own IP. But on the other hand, I would love it even more if they made another Dungeons & Dragons game. And part of this is born of a concern that Swen isn't getting any younger, and at some point in time he'll retire. And I then selfishly want another Dungeons & Dragons game before that happens, I have to be honest. But ultimately, I'm very curious as to what you guys think. Do you think there is a sort of conflict of interest in the sense that a greater majority of people have an interest in Dungeons & Dragons and games related to Dungeons & Dragons or the Forgotten Realms versus people who are interested in Divinity Original Sin and the world of Rivellon? I think we all have our preferences, and all those preferences are to be respected. But my sense, based on pure observation, is that the majority of people would prefer some kind of further game set in a Dungeons & Dragons setting, probably the Forgotten Realms, over Divinity Original Sin, as much as I like that game. So I'm really curious to see what you guys have to think about this. Do you think, like me, it's a little bit of an either or do you think the IPs can exist in perfect harmony with each other with no problems whatsoever? Please let me know in the comment section. I'm very interested in hearing your feedback on this. And before I go, I'd like to invite you to my Discord server, where you can discuss Baldur's Gate 3 with like-minded people, as well as other RPGs, including Divinity Original Sin if you so choose. And as always, thank you for tuning in, And if you do like my content, you can leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel and helps out with growth. And hit the bell icon to be notified of my videos. Much appreciated, and I'll check you out next time. Take care.